Welcome everyone to the Collector's Cut. I am Peter, and joining me as always is David.
It's go time.
This is a movie podcast, and we normally review a movie and talk about it, and David will say something wrong, I'll say something right, I'll go back and forward a little bit.
Absolutely.
Growth will happen, tears will be shed.
We'll learn a bit about friendship along the way.
But that's not today. Today, we're doing something else. Today, we're doing something that David concocted that he did explain to me. I've forgotten entirely what it was, but he's about to explain it to you all again, so that's okay.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry about explaining it. I'm going to hand it over to David, and he can fill you in on what we're doing here today. But we're doing a Collector's Cut draft of some sort.
So my thought process was, this was actually a year ago I thought of this, is it's really hard to do a top 10 for this show because there are so wildly different types of movies and seasons that we do. It's hard to really say, here's a top 10, but I still wanted to do something at the end of the year. So my thought process was, the entire conceit of the show is the collection. So what me and Pete will be doing here today is we are going to go back and forth between all of the movies that we've done reviews for so far, not counting Die Hard season because it's not done yet. And we are going to be building a collection. We each will have our own individual 10 films, and we are going to try to build the best collection. And I have figured out a way to do it systematically where it will be judged by you, anonymously, the audience, who has the best collection. So that will all be going on. Unfortunately, by the time you're seeing this video, the judging will have already happened, so you missed the boat on that one. But regardless, we will have put out a post and all that, and you guys will be able to anonymously judge which collection is the best. So you won't be able to just say, oh yes, clearly I'll give it to David because he has the better taste. It's actually going to be fair.
Yes. The only one thing I will point out about this premise, this is all for fun, because if this was actually building a collection, it would be stupid because you'd have one movie from a franchise, possibly not the start of the franchise. So, we're not actually recommending either of these lists as what you should build around. This is what I'm saying.
No, if you go based off of because that's the other thing of this, is that in order to get a breadth of it, in order to get the entirety of it, you can only have one film per season that we've done in your collection. That is one of the hard and fast rules. So if you pick a Christopher Nolan film, you can only have one Christopher Nolan film in your collection.
Yes. All right. And that's why David's going straight for Expendables 4. I know that's going to be his first pick.
Absolutely. So there are a few other little things to throw in a little bit of extra mix here, but I can do that once. Hey, there it is. There's the visual. So,
I know. Look, I'm way ahead of you.
You had it built. I love it. So I have painstakingly made icons for every single thing we've done. Pete's dragging a few right now that I will get to. But each of these represents a movie that we've done. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, there is a number and a color to each of them. The number represents the season that it is, so we can only have one per number per collection. Then the color represents whether or not it made the cut. So if it is blue, that means the highest honors of a cut above. Green, it makes the cut. Yellow, it is cutting it close. Orange, it is cut from the collection. And red is the worst. Cut your losses. So that is...
Whoa. It's the worst one here. It's not actually the worst on the scale, because only a couple of Extra Reels movies have actually achieved that.
I consider that breaking the scale, but correct. So yeah, here's basically the way it's going to work is that all of these movies here, we're going to go back and forth. We are going to pick a movie for our collections. We're just going to talk about it, why we think it is worth joining the collection to begin with, why we chose that specific one. And then once we each have 10 films each, we will wrap up and we will pass it along to you guys to vote. And then we'll film a follow-up section after you guys have gotten the voting done. So that is the gist of it. However, I have spiced things up because, like I said, I've had a year to sit on this. So each of us has 3 what I call screw you tokens. And those are slop, season, and steal. Slop is... All right, so I guess I should explain this. on any given turn, you can use one of these tokens instead of picking a movie for your collection. And in using one of those tokens, it changes what the next person has to do. So if you choose to use the slop token, then the next person has to pick one that is either orange or red colored, meaning that it was cut from the collection. You have to pick a bad color. If you choose the season, then you get to pick the season that the other player has to pick their next one from. Mind you, that does not let you break the rule of one per season. So if I've already picked Expendables 4, Pete, you can't make me go back to Expendables season again. It's not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is the one that I think is going to be the most rife for exploitation, which is the Steel token. And that is, instead of me picking one, I give you, or you take one of the ones that you want from my collection. That is, you take whichever one you want. The only rule is it can't be one that has already been stolen. If something's been stolen once, you can't steal it again. That's the only limitation. All right?
Yep, I'm with you.
All right, that is pretty much all of the rules. That is everything. The only other thing is that we have to decide who goes first, which we have decided is going to be a coin flip.
One question.
Yes.
Does that mean technically there's only going to... Well, I suppose we just keep going until I've got 10, but since you said if you use one of your tokens, you're not picking a movie, I was thinking, well, that means you'll have less than 10, but technically I guess you just keep going until we've both got 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So using your token, you'll get whatever movie that is, and then I'll take my turn.
So we both have 13 turns, technically.
Correct.
Okay.
The only catch on here is that for the Steel one, you cannot use that when you already have 10. So if you go first, you build up all 10, and then you try to use Steel on your last turn, it's not going to work.
Okay. All right. Well, as David was about to get to there, we've got a coin toss to decide who's going first.
Mm-hmm.
I will let David decide the toss. If he gets it right, he goes first. That's simple.
All right. I will go Tails.
Ah!
All right.
All right.
Let me just tear up my strategy then. I'm already... God damn it.
For the audio listeners, that was a heads.
Go ahead.
Yes. Worth mentioning, we just there is audio listeners to this show as an audio podcast, so we should clearly say what we're doing as we're doing it and what we're picking. But yes, I'm going to use my season token on my first turn.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that kind of makes it so I go first, but not in a way I liked. All right. So what season do I have to pick from, Pete?
Guess. Guess which season I'm making you go to.
I'm going to assume Christopher Nolan season.
Expendables, David. And what I will do for the visuals here is I will take the token away from the bar as they've been used. So my season token's been taken away.
All right, Expendables season. Well, what did we give the Expendables here? Expendables, there was only one that would even kind of make the cut, as we discussed it. Expendables 1 was okay, but Expendables 2 is really where they found their footing. So my official first draft pick, goddamn you, Pete, is Expendables 2.
That goes into David's slot. I'm winning!
What do you mean you're winning? I have one film. You don't even have a collection yet.
Yes, but you have a negative, so I'm winning.
That's fair. Do we want to talk about Expendables 2, or should we just gloss over that and move on to the next one?
I mean, it's the best of the four, so I mean that's why you picked it. I mean,
absolutely. It's the only one that I remember anything even moderately positive about, and that is just the stupid Chuck Norris jokes that they had going on, and the one.
It was only one of those.
Yeah, no, they had that, and then towards the end as well, they had another one when he showed back up.
Did they?
Didn't they?
Oh, maybe they did. I remember the when he popped up at the end. I don't remember another joke at the end.
Rainer.
All right, so that still counts as your turn, though, right? Because you.
Yes, so that is my turn. So now it's back to you to do a thing.
Okay. This is. See, it's so open for selection right now, but that's.
I mean, I have taken away one of the best seasons, so you are a
Oh
little
wait,
limited
so
there.
I don't have to pick one from Expendables now.
You don't. I mean, you never had to pick one from Expendables. We
Well,
have
okay,
19 seasons total, but yeah.
but what I mean is that Expendables is like it's not just that it's not just that one of us can't have two off the same season. It's that one of us once one of us has one off that season.
No. You can. You can.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
right.
When I said I took one of them, I meant
Okay.
the best one. So what would you possibly pick from Expendable season now, Pete?
Yeah. Well, I'm not unless you force me to later. I'm not. So. What do I want to start with? Okay. Gotta go simple to begin with,
Okay.
I think. And I'm going to take Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is
All right.
the first Indiana Jones movie, of course, and I'm taking it because it's a fan favorite. Most people will be happy to have it on a list, and it is blue, meaning that it was a cut above, so it's kind of got the higher prestige, perhaps. So I think. I think, looking at our list now with Raiders versus Expendables 2, I feel like I'm in a much better place.
Hey, you can't judge a football team by its quarterback alone. You got a whole team that's going to be built out of this. And yes, Raiders was literally second choice here of what I would have picked. So I get it. It's a fantastic movie. I don't see any flaws in going for that first. I expected that all the cut aboves would probably go the fastest. So
That
we'll
makes
see
some
where we get with
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did we end up giving Raiders? Raiders had let's see here. That was an 8.75 collectively. You gave it a 9, I gave it an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, if we're sticking in that same sort of 80s era, I am going to go ahead and just flag down the only 10 I've ever given on this show, which is Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I love Ghostbusters. I said that over and over in the review. It's just perfect pacing, perfect comedy. I absolutely enjoy every moment of it. So definitely going in my collection.
I mean, I can't argue with that as a pick. All right, that's. I mean, I feel like it's just easy to just look at the blue ones and pick one of them just now.
Yeah, I mean, there is only 5 blue ones total, so we do eventually have to break from it. But
Yeah, but just I mean, okay, I'll break my Nolan seal and I will pick Memento as my choice from there. Oppenheimer's also got the blue, but I do think Memento's it's a more me movie, it's a more interesting movie to me. Obviously, Oppenheimer was great, but I think there's more of a character study and a more of a kind of a sort of, it's a young filmmaker. Like, let's break the rules and do something our way. That just feels like there's a bit of a life to it in a way that appeals to me. So yes,
fair enough.
I'll go with that.
I was torn between Memento and Oppenheimer. Honestly, I would have been fine with either. I will hold off on Oppenheimer, though, because now you can't grab that one anyway, so I'll just come back for that later. In terms of my next pick, what was the other one we had? It was Ghostbusters, Oppenheimer. No, that's really it. Okay. Well, in that case, I think I'm going to jump a little bit, and I am going to actually go with a non-blue one. I'm going to go with one that just makes the cut instead of all the way, and I am going to go with Rocky.
Okay.
Rocky 1.
All right. Rocky goes into David's column or row, I should say.
It was honestly a toss-up for me out of Rocky season whether I wanted to go with Rocky because it is a genuinely very well-made movie, or if I wanted to go with Rocky 4 because it is just that much fun. But I am going to go with the better-made movie. I think that Rocky is still a solid piece of art even today.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay. Let's have some fun. I'm going to use my slop token.
Oh, God.
So
All
you
right.
have to pick a red or an orange.
Yeah, I planned for this. I specifically planned for this. All right. I am going to say... All right, so just to get behind the scenes, I've made a little short list here, and I purposely have avoided picking from seasons that the short list would be, just in case I had to pick some slop. My first pick is listed as Cruel Intentions, because I didn't think I would ever pick any one of those erotic 90s thrillers. However, looking at it now, the fact that you gave me Expendables 2, I cannot justify putting in Cruel Intentions as well. I'm stealing my fate with that. So I think I'm actually going to jump back to a season you already picked from, and I'm going to go Temple of Doom.
Okay, all right. I mean, some people do kind of like that movie still, so you might get a little bit of a...
Yep, going for the popularity here.
Yeah, okay, that makes
I did get some enjoyment out of it. I remember saying it had some good moments to it. It was just that the larger whole of it just didn't really feel cohesive enough for me.
Okay. It's got a good action sequence that people do remember fondly. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with Gladiator then, because that's blue.
All right. I mean, one of the more recent ones, fair enough.
Hey, look, the most recent thing we can pick is Gladiator 2. Now, you're lucky we're not including Die Hard, because Die Hard would have probably been my first pick.
Oh, absolutely.
Had we been including Die Hard, but obviously we're only halfway through that season, so it's not eligible. So here we are. But
if this does any sort of decent, we'll have some sort of coming back around, and Die Hard will be included in that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, what was supposed to say? It's just a full, well-rounded movie. I expect a lot of people are going to be pleased with it. I don't know. It feels like an easy, safe pick at this point before things get a bit messier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it's I mean, again, we sat and talked about Gladiator 2 just last week in terms of recording dates for this, and it just reminds me of why I like Gladiator 1 so much. I think it really does have this little special place of... I don't think that modern Hollywood could do it the same way again. I think that we specifically saw in Gladiator 2, they cannot do the same sort of thing again.
Yeah. Also, I'm noticing that the shade of blue in the Gladiator token's a little different from the other ones.
I don't know why. I use the same numbers, so I don't know why.
I don't think you did. I think this is some sloppiness.
That's fair. Well, in talking about it, I do really love Gladiator. I'm going to steal that.
Oh, very
spicy.
Your
Gladiator.
Do you know what? I'm okay with that. I'll put that into yours. Your steal token's gone.
Yep.
And now I get to say something.
Oh, God.
I'm not using that steal until I've got 9. And you know why? I'm going to pick what I want from what you've got. You're a fool for using that so early. A damn fool. Fine.
Hey, that is I have worked through my strategy here. I knew that giving you Gladiator would be a thing, so I could take it back.
All right. And that counts as your turn then, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, because you just got one. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, it's open season. What do I go for? Because I was a little bit worried about picking certain things, thinking, he could steal that later. Now I don't have to have that fear. It's nice. Okay.
I mean, I see some good picks there. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the whole Santa Claus season.
You can try and upset me, but it's not going to happen. Okay, I think, based on some things you've said, based on some things I feel, okay, you know what? I'm going to go with my heart.
All right.
Turtles 1.
Oh, all right. It was on my short list.
Turtles 1. It holds up incredibly well. Most of our audience is at the right age where that'll hit them right in the nostalgia hole. And I'm happy to hit that hole, so...
You pound away at it, man. I again, looking at the short list here, I was going to go either... If I had to pick Turtle season, I was going to go either the first one or the most recent, Mutant Mayhem. I
I'd understand that choice too.
Yep.
Plus, This means you can't force me to do one of the bad ones in that season, which is also
That is
strategically
true.
sound.
Yep. Though that does make me think, though, Pete.
I know.
I do have that season token.
Uh-huh.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only one movie in Gladiator season that you could pick from now. Huh.
Technically, that is true, yeah.
Well, then I think I'm going to use my season token and say Gladiator season. You call me a fool for using it early. I say I thought this all through in advance.
Do you know what? I'm actually happy with that. I think you've made a strategical error there.
Well, my thought process is that did not make the cut, and I still have my slot token, which means I can force 2 not making the cut movies into your collection.
I mean, that's fair, but the smarter thing to do with that token would have been to force me out of a season that I would have picked something good from.
That's true.
Or that wouldn't work.
Yeah, you'd still be picking the one you wanted.
Or maybe you pick something where you've already taken the good one, so that I have to pick.
And that was my other thought process. But like looking through the list, every season's had like 2 at least I would consider good. So I had to go with this one selection where it's only the one.
That's fair. That's fair. We're back to you then, because I guess that counts as my pick.
Yep, that is me. So we have effectively worked through everything we need there. I am now on to my second stage here. I did Rocky. So my next one I'm going to go with, because we are releasing this as an end of year thing. It is a holiday season. I'm going Home Alone 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah. I was, if I had to pick a second one, it would obviously be Home Alone 2, but Home Alone 1 is just that extra little special. It really hits hard. It's a very solidly made Christmas film, and I think anyone would be like, yeah, that's good to have in a collection.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, okay. All right, where do I go next? Yeah, let's do it. Let's take Dirty Harry. Let's take another big name off the list.
Fair enough. That wasn't even on my short list.
It's the first ever episode we did, so there's a sentimental quality that the audience might feel drawn to. Plus, it's just a great movie that holds up. It's one to take.
Very true.
Right, back to you.
I wish I remembered more about it, honestly. I feel like it's so old, I need to go back and watch our episode.
Oh, I remember it quite well, actually. But that was like the second or third time I saw it, so it's
that's true.
Stuck in my brain a bit better.
All right. I am going to go with one of the many disaster seasons we've had.
Okay.
I am going to pull a strangely well-performing video of Towering Inferno.
All right, okay. So this is the second 70s disaster season you're taking from.
Yep.
All right, interesting.
I mean, that's one of the few that I still think I remember pretty much all the beats on, as like straight throughout the movie, despite how long it was, because I remember that being an absolute mercilessly long movie. But no, when it comes down to other 70s disaster ones, your earthquakes, your avalanches, all of them just kind of pale in comparison to Towering Inferno. I think that one really struck gold with that.
Okay, interesting. I'm picking 7.
All right.
From David Fincher season, because it's the best Fincher movie, and I'm actually kind of surprised no one picked anything from that yet, so I feel like it's an easy blank spot to fill.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm dodging around a little bit. I have Fincher on my short list. Well, if I don't have to worry about other Finchers yet at this point, you know what?
That's fine.
Why not? I'm going to go ahead at this point and use the slop token.
Okay,
Let's get it in there.
I'll take your slop thing away.
I want to see what bad movie you're going to decide on.
So orange or red is the options I have. Okay. So let's see. All right, well, I can't take anything from Dirty Harry season. I could do Santa Claus 2 or 3. There's a few oranges from disaster seasons I could take. I know what I'm picking. There's a movie in the orange here that I actually like.
All right.
Super
feel like I
Mario
know
Brothers,
what it- yep.
1993, easily.
That was third on my short list for Salah. That was absolutely there.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually enjoy watching that movie.
Yeah.
Easy
no,
peasy.
I think you're going to gain some major points with that, with the audience.
Yeah, I'll take that as my slot pick.
Yeah.
No problem with me. All right, what's your next pick? This is what are we on here? This is number 8 for you, I think.
Yeah. Jeez, man, we're zooming through this.
We can go to 12 to make it a bit beefier.
I mean, that breaks literally everything I have about the audience voting in terms of making it anonymous. So
How?
I'd have to resort that out. Because I did it all mathematically based to keep it anonymous of like which movies belong to which ones without it being like 100 questions long.
Well, they're just getting 2 lists and voting which one's better?
No. So like the way a little pause here for the audience. Hey. So
I clearly did not understand the weird algorithms that David was using to calculate voting here.
So the way the voting works is that the audience is presented a list of 6 movies. Some amount of them are from Pete's collection, some amount are from my collection. And the way that it works is that you rank those movies in the order of best to worst. And then using Excel magic, I basically am comparing everything from your collection against everything in my collection over the course of a bunch of different questions. So if your movie, say, let's go with, let's say Raiders for right now. If Raiders outclasses every single other one of my movies in a head-to-head combat, then it would be given a score of 10. If it's better than 8 of them, it would be given a score of 8 and stuff like that. So every movie would be given an individual score.
This is so complicated. Why
absolutely is.
Why is it this complicated? Just give them 2 lists and say which one's better.
Because they'll know who has which list. I guarantee you. They would know who has which list based off of the content.
If they can guess it based on what's in the list, then that's good job for them. They know as well, and I'm proud of that.
I am avoiding all spoiler effects here.
This sounds rigged so that it doesn't actually matter what the full list is.
No, of course, the full list should not impact this at all. This is about the individual movies that make up the collection.
Of course the full list matters. That's the whole point of a draft. You're building a team. You're looking at it as a whole.
If you build a fantasy team, then it only matters which one of those is how they perform that week. It's not about the team as a whole. It's about how each person individually performs. That's fantasy leagues.
I don't know what we're doing fantasy league. I thought we were just doing a draft. You give them 2 lists. Which list is better? They pick a list.
It's absolutely a fantasy collection. What are you talking about?
You've never pitched it to me once that way.
I have specifically sat down and asked you no less than 3 times over the point of the last year saying, do you want to know how it's going to work? And you say, nah, how complicated could it be?
Because
and
I didn't think it was going to be weirdly complicated. I thought it was we both pick a bunch.
This is all on you, Pete. I have established the rules up front. I have offered them to you, and you have neglected them.
This isn't the rules, though. This is the weird voting system that you've got in place
Absolutely.
after. Like, fine, it could just be 10. I thought I'd just give them a few more of us debating and arguing, but fine, you want to just have 10? We'll just have 10.
This is the debate and argument now.
Stupid system.
Absolutely.
All right. Anyway, whose turn is it?
Beats me. You went first. We're still uneven, but you still have a steal, so I think it's my turn.
It's you, yeah, because I said it's your 8th. On you go. Right.
Yep. All right. All right. I think looking at it, I'm not too scared that you're going to take a couple of my top ones here. So I think I'm going to dip back into Fincher season. I would have gone with 7 as my first pick, but I will go with my second pick, which is Gone Girl.
Okay, that'd probably be my second pick in there as well, to be honest. So
yeah, I think it's absolutely top tier for Fincher. I think it did a fantastic thing. I will admit I do have a soft spot for Fight Club, but I recognize that I am not in the majority with that. So going with the safety pick of Gone Girl instead.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Is there anything I want from that season? I don't think there is. There's definitely nothing I want from that season. Okay. I think my next logical choice, because I'm not worried about you taking anything from there. This is my 8th pick.
Mhm.
I'm going to go to the first 70s disaster movie season.
Okay.
See, here's the thing though. I'm picking what I think is best, and it's like, but will the audience vote for this over the other thing that it might go up against? It depends if they actually took the time to seek out the movie or not. That said, though, I'll go by heart. I'll say Cassandra Crossing for my next pick.
Okay. All right, that was my first choice for that season as well, but that was not on my short list. So.
There's a few good choices in that first season, to be fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was honestly debating between Poseidon Adventure and China Syndrome. I think as much as weirdly the algorithm has put Big Bus to the front of the line, which I still have no idea why that is. I don't think it would actually get any votes for best movie.
Hey, YouTube watchers like big buses and they cannot lie.
I'm a brother and I can deny. All right, so on to 9th. I have to be safe here because you have a way to dick me over. I'm going to go for Oppenheimer now.
All right,
this is where I got to go safe. As I said, it's a fantastic movie. I think I actually gave it a 9.5, so that was the highest rated one I had for quite some time on this show. But yeah, no, I was actually just watching clips from it earlier this morning, and I think it still absolutely stands up.
Okay. So I think my next, for my 9th port of call is going to be 90s erotic season.
Okay.
I'm going with Bound. I like that the most out of that season. I think it's a really solid thriller, and I wasn't concerned about you picking it, which is why I left it till late.
No, that's fine.
So here we go.
It's absolutely fine. Was Bound the one that I gave like a really low one to?
You give it like a 4.5, like a no. Actually, no, you give it like a 6. Yeah, Last Seduction. Yeah. You give like a 4.5. Yeah, also psychotic, but
Bound was underneath. I honestly for that season, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, okay. I've got 2 options here. I don't know which one I want to go with because this is 10th, right? This is the final one.
This is your final pick, yeah.
Yeah. So I was down to 2 options. When I was thinking I was going to have to pick Cruel Intentions, this one kind of fell by the wayside, and that was Basic Instinct. So the fact that you picked Bound, I am kind of tempted to go with that. However, I also have in my short list that I definitely wanted to grab a John Wick film. So I'm not sure which one audiences would relate to better. Okay. All right, I know exactly how I'm going to play this. This is going to work. This is going to be fine. Okay. I'm going to go with Basic Instinct.
Okay.
I'm going with Basic Instinct. I think that one is it's a very well-made film out of the 90s erotic season. I think it was the best one, and obviously we were talking about how a lot of the other ones that were going on in that season were aping off of that one, trying to emulate what it managed to accomplish, and just never quite succeeded at the same level. So Basic Instinct gets my vote for that.
So it's my last pick. And would you look at that? There's a steel token just sitting right there.
Which means you can't steal Basic Instinct or like 3 other films that you have seasons for, which is why I went with Basic Instinct.
I know. There's a reason why I avoided taking any other Ghostbusters movies or any other Rocky movies, or even any other Home Alone movies, because I have a choice here.
You do.
I could just take whatever one of those I want. Too. You do, but like...
There's only one I'm going to be really upset if you take.
Yeah, I'm taking Ghostbusters.
You absolute bastard.
Which means you get one more pick because you're on 9 now.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the whole time. Like, okay, I'll just stay away from the seasons that I think I might want to steal one from.
Yeah. I mean, that's... Even when I was picking Ghostbusters, I was like, look, I have to make this Gladiator thing work. So I just have to take Ghostbusters because otherwise I'm not going to have it. And I was hoping that you might steal something else, that I might be able to pique your interest. But Yeah.
No.
No.
Now, you've got so many good choices to pick, though. You could pick the killer. I know you couldn't because you've already got a Fincher.
I
But
could pick the killer.
But you could, you could. I mean, dance movie season's not been touched. That season you were like adamant we should do, and you were like, Peter, we need to do dance movie season. It wasn't that bad, was it? And yet we're sitting here, and neither of us have even looked at it to pick it.
Saturday Night Fever is on my short list. I do have Saturday Night Fever here. However, yeah, okay, I can admit when I make mistakes, and I said it wasn't that bad. Not it was great. So.
You've not touched the Fast and the Furious season yet. You could have something from there.
I was really hoping that you would force my season into that instead of Expendables, just so I could say Fast 5, best one.
Yes, and your Fast 5 was sitting there. There was no good option in Expendables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It really was. I mean, I could make the argument that you would also go for Santa Claus. Santa Claus has also been a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, but there's enough people who are fond of that first one, though, that if you picked that, it would get a little bit of love.
Just get that chance, yeah. All right, well, I set it up at the beginning that I was bouncing between Basic Instinct and John Wick, and now that the spot has magically opened up, I will go with John Wick, but which one? Boy, Parabellum sure does look good, doesn't it?
Hey, go on, take John Wick 3, you coward.
Yeah. I will not give in to peer pressure. I'm going to go with just the one that we rated highest, the one that I actually rated highest overall, and that is John Wick 2. I think it was the peak of the season. As much as the spectacle of the fourth one was absolutely there, I think that John Wick 2 is regarded as just slightly better.
It's the better all-round movie, but I think that I almost don't care because the last 40 minutes of action in John Wick 4 is just so off the rails that I still kind of like it more, despite the fact that the first half is kind of a mess.
Yeah, I can't remember anything from the first half of John Wick 4, but every once in a while I picture the battle around the Arc de Triomphe and then the battle up the stairs, and that's just absolutely enough to make it. Also
the top down with the gun with the flaming bullets. That pops out of the head a lot. So yeah, it's just so to recap here. Obviously, the video listeners the video watchers can see it, but I will recap here just to sum up. So David's team, if you will, is Expendables 2, Rocky.
Can we drop that to the back? Can we just slide that down?
No. Temple of Doom, Gladiator, Home Alone, Tower of Inferno, Gone Girl, Oppenheimer, Basic Instinct, and John Wick 2. I'm feeling solid. My team is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Memento, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Gladiator 2, Dirty Harry, 7, Super Mario Brothers, the live-action 1993 film, Cassandra Crossing, Bound, and Ghostbusters. Look, I'm going to win this. That's going to happen. And,
when I was breaking this game down, I didn't have any way to like play test it. I didn't have any way to try to see how it would work. But as I made the steel token, I was like, this is gonna bite me in the ass. And there it is.
I'm going to win. So the way this is going to work is that we will have people anonymously voting this. But like, you don't have to wait for the results because it'll be edited onto this video. You're going to see the rest of it. You'll get the results in a minute. So we're not going to wrap up here. We're going to just transition into weeks later when we've got the results and we can reveal them and see how things did.
I am absolutely ready to exercise my American right to say stop the count at any point I want.
I've got Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ghostbusters, 7.
I got Home Alone and others.
I feel good.
That's fine.
I feel good. David weeks ago was like, "Oh, do you want to like me explain the rules in depth so you can strategize?" And I'm not going to strategize. And I come out at the end of this going, "I didn't need to strategize. I came in here and won."
Honestly, I am not going to sugarcoat that. Me going second did put a major dent in everything I was hoping for there. Like, I was like, if I go first, I'm feeling pretty good because I can get 3 of the Blue movies. But otherwise, I'm kind of screwed.
Yes. Well. I'm not really sure how to wrap this part up, but we will see you in a few seconds where Peter and David from the future will join in, and I'm assuming David will do some big breakdown of the points or some bullshit.
Man, it's like sometimes you listen to me and other times you just gloss right over. Of course I was going to break down everything about the points.
We'll see you. So
right now.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. It is now several weeks later. The votes have come in. David's about to tell me how much I won by, and we'll have a nice old laugh about it. So, David, why don't you take us through the results of your insanely complicated voting system?
Yes, absolutely. So, just to remind everybody how this worked out, because I think as I was saying it during the last section, Pete got very uppity and didn't let me finish exactly how this was going to work. So, each of the movies from Pete's collection was compared via your guys' votes to each of the movies in my collection. If Pete won any of the individual matchups, he got 1 point. If he won all the matchups, he'd get 10 points. That makes sense. So I did that for every one of the movies in his collection and my collection. And based off the number of points they got, that's what that movie averages out to. Then we take the averages for everybody's surveys, average them across the movies, and we get a average for the entirety of the entire collection. Because of the way it averages out, your average score will total up to 10 less than, your average score plus my average score equals 10. So we're on opposite sides of the 5 mark there. Okay?
I mean, not really. I mean, this is absurdly complex. Like, even you saying you're saying one movie from mine versus one movie for yours, I'm like, I looked at the voting form. It wasn't 1 versus 1. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the voting form was set up in a way where it's rankings of 6 movies. However, each one of your movies only came up against each one of my movies 1 time. So I was able, based off of whether or not yours was ranked higher than mine, I could figure out whether they preferred one movie or the other. If that makes sense.
Let's just keep going.
All right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Just going to go through some little back end stuff, just little things that would make it a little bit more interesting as we get into it. The worst 3 performing movies from all 10 of them. With a 2.75, it was from my collection. That was Expendables 2.
Yes.
With a 2.41, it was your collection, Gladiator 2.
You made me pick that, so that's fine.
I did. You made me pick Expendables 2, so yeah. And with a 2.33, the worst performing movie from your collection, Super Mario Brothers 93.
Oh, that's fine, because that was my... I was forced to pick that, so...
Yeah, you had to pick a cop movie, but you were very like, oh, it's obvious. I know what I want. But that did worse than Gladiator 2, even.
That's fine, because I've got all the top end ones. It's fine.
Well, let's get over to that then. The top 3 performing movies. In 3rd place from your collection with the 6.66 is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Thank you.
In 2nd place with my collection with a 6.91 is Rocky.
Really?
And yeah,
interesting.
Rocky outdid it. And in 1st place with a 7.0 from what should have been my collection
yes,
is Ghostbusters. You rat bastard.
Yes.
Yep. So just a little other tiny little things here. In terms of the most 10 scores we got, that was actually like a 4-way tie. Ghostbusters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Oppenheimer, and Home Alone, people rated 10 out of 10 3 times. And then in terms of the most zeros, Gladiator 2, out and away with 5 zeros.
That makes sense.
Than anyone else. All right, so in terms of individual people, we got about a dozen responses. You had one person who was so extremely on your side, just by happenstance, because it was all anonymous. You had one person who had the largest outlier, who gave your entire collection an average of 7.2 compared to my 2.8. To give you a gist of it, Nothing else got higher than like a 6 compared to a 4. You got a 7.2 from one of those. So congrats on that front.
Sounds like a smart person.
Yes, I'm sure. It's weird. It was also labeled as "This is Pete," but whatever. I will say I did not vote. I did not put in a vote.
Oh, nor did I.
Did not either.
Nor did I. No.
Yeah.
I'd like to think if I did, somehow it wouldn't have been. It'd have been higher than a 7 something.
I would like that you would have at least a little bit of decency to say like, well, clearly I can't put Gladiator 2 above Rocky.
That would be very suspicious. But yes, there you go.
I do need to bring up that out of this dozen or so votes, there were 2 that we don't know their motivations, and I'm going to count the votes as taken, but I think they got it wrong. I think they misunderstood the assignment because they gave Gladiator 2, respectively, a 9 and an 8. And then they gave, what was the one that really set it apart? Oh, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. They gave it a 1 and a 2, which, again, lowest points there means bad. So they put Gladiator way up high, or Gladiator 2 way up high, and Raiders of the Lost Ark way down low, and everything else also seems a little bit flipped on the in-between. So...
is it possible that your stupid form is too confusing?
Well, considering I just said on every single page, best on the left, worst on the right, I hope not. That seems really straightforward.
But even you keep saying, oh, this movie, people were giving this a 9 and an 8, and I'm like, people weren't giving numbers on this. I looked at the form.
Yeah, that's all on my side. That's just me counting this stuff up. But like, again, it's how many times they won their matchups. So Gladiator 2 for these 2 people won it 9 and 8 times respectively, and then Raiders won only 1 and 2 times respectively.
When you say something won a matchup, right? You had them in. Was the batches of 6? I want to say you had them in. Right. When you say something won a matchup, do you mean it outranked all 5 other things?
No, it's so in each one of them, all of your movies only went up against all of my movies one time. Sometimes they have multiple copies of your movies, but each time. There was only one time where each of our movies saw each other. Because of that, if your movie that I'm talking about outranked my movie, then it won that matchup. So, I mean, I think I still have the form open here. Let me just pull it up real quick. So on the first question, there was, from your side of things, there was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And from my side of things, there was John Wick Chapter 2. There were also 4 other movies in there. But if you ranked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles higher than John Wick Chapter 2, then it won the matchup between those 2. If that makes sense.
Wait, so you're telling me that 4 options in every batch were just duds for...
No, they were all... I was also using those to compare as well. Like, however they were in there. So also in that same one was Dirty Harry and Cassandra Crossing. And those also would have been a matchup. So it was all... mathematically perfected, totally fine, 100% accurate.
Yes, far too complicated for what it should have been.
I feel like that's probably more so of me being crap at explaining things, but it makes sense. It 100% does. So
I love the idea there's someone out there right now who's going, wait, I think I was the one that rated Gladiator 2 highly and Raiders low.
What do you mean worse? I mean, I could give the dates they were put in, but everything else was anonymous. So anyway. Just making that clear, just saying that there were 2 people who we will accept the votes as given, but may have been flipped. All right. You ready for the final result? You ready for this?
Yes. Go on.
All right. With a point differential of less than a point, just 0.8 things between us, 0.8 scores or whatever, the winner of the first, however annual, Collector's Cut draft pick is...
Annual? That's ambitious.
However annual. Biannual, triannual, we'll see how it fits. The winner is... me. I won. Look at that. I got a trophy. Best collection.
This just confirms to me how nonsense your system is, frankly.
All right, well, let me. I've mapped this out because, like, it started on your side for, like, the first 2 entries, and then it very quickly switched over to mine. So what happened was, you have the higher highs. You were winning based off your first 3 picks, your top 3 highest picks, which were Ghostbusters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Seven. Those eclipsed basically all of my movies. But then my entire collection basically outdid the rest of your collection. It was filtered in and out there, but almost everything I have got like a solid 7, whereas then yours were a lot lower down. So things like, if I expanded out the bottom list here, Cassandra Crossing only got a 3.2, Bound only got a 3.3, Dirty Harry was still under 5 with a 4.5, and I managed to get above almost all of those. So yours had the higher highs, but it also had the lower lows, and I managed to win it out by having a solid, gooey center.
Well, the system's invalidated. I would really like to know, everyone who's now watching this video, having now seen the collections, right, from the previous part, to actually say which list of movies looks better. Because I don't know. I don't think they're... I think just let's A, let's B, vote for which one. Because then they because that's the thing. The beauty of doing a draft is that then they have to make the choices of, well, this one has this thing I like, but this one has the other thing I like. But I have to, make for this. But because you've made it all so weirdly secretive and everything doesn't add up.
Yeah. Everything does add up. Let's not be clear. I will not take any slander against my math here. But yeah, no, it's 100% taking the individual items against each other, because I think in a collection, the constituent items are just as important as the collection as a whole.
This sounds like a lot of creative accounting to make sure you could win. That's what this sounds like to me. Also,
when I mapped it out, I made my color red and your color blue because I thought that would give me a better chance of winning based off of American politics. So,
colors are flipped in the UK though, so
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no. So that is the first standing. Like I said, my final standing here was at a 5.4 for the entire collection. Yours was at a 4.5. So. Yep.
Do you know what? I want to make fun of the audience, say, oh, they chose poorly, blah blah blah. But I don't think they did. I think the system itself was flawed.
I mean, if you want to go that route, so be it. But I think look, if you pick like 4 good movies, in your case 3 good movies, and then a bunch of crap, and then I pick some really solid middle stuff, I think the middle stuff makes it a better collection. I think having that
no.
list of good things compared to...
You did not pick better movies. You picked things that more people have seen. There is a difference.
That's the game, bro. I know the audience.
No, just, David, what you did here was the electoral collage. That's what you did. You did that and you won via that. That's how you won.
I told you those were the rules up front. You knew this was going to an audience vote, and you still decided to go, Cassandra Crossing, that's deserving a piece.
You didn't explain things that well. Let's be honest.
I told you that, and again, I offered to tell you the full breakdown of the rules multiple times before going into it, and you said, nah.
Because every time you started, I started falling asleep because it was so boring. Okay?
That's your damn fault. Look, the rules are available. They were available to you at any given point here. I could send you the spreadsheet.
No one understood the rules, though.
What do you mean no one understood? The rules were kept very clear of what the audience had to do. They did that stuff properly, and then I took the data, I interpreted it, I added my own numbers to win, and then I won.
I'm just saying there was some confusion these past few weeks of how to vote in this stupid thing, and I don't think everyone was quite understanding.
I literally have tuned into the Discord and all the comments on your post, and nobody was confused. The only thing I saw was, I was debating whether this one goes first or not, but I decided on this one.
I'm sure someone said something to me on a stream about it being
on a stream.
Nonsense.
How lucky that these things that aren't kept after the fact. How convenient. I got receipts. Where are yours?
Dear,
Anyway, I'm just going to put this up on my wall and have it there for the entire next year of Collector's Cut.
I mean, this is all fine, but I still like mine more.
No, that's fine. You can like yours more, but in terms of popular common conception, I have the better collection.
I know better than most people, though.
And this is why you lose elections, Pete. You're not the everyman.
I don't want to win elections.
I mean, fair. Neither do I, but I'm still happy to do it.
I'm happily on my petard, okay?
Gotcha. Anyway, that's literally all I got. If anybody wants any more info, feel free to hit me up. I'll keep this around for a while.
What a sham this is. What a waste of our time this entire endeavor has been.
Pete, I cannot tell you though, because like the first 2 or 3 votes came in, they were leaning towards you, and I was like, yeah, all right, I was willing to accept that. And then it shifted, and I was like, yes, I get to lord this over him.
I don't care. I've lost interest in it now.
Of course, yeah.
It's all invalidated by.
Hey, if you win the next whatever one we're doing, you get the paper, you get the plaque. I will FedEx it to you, and I'll Sharpie out 2024 and put on the new year.
Yeah. See, we're never doing this again. Don't worry about that. But this has been what's even the name of this?
I called it the 2024 Collector's Cut Draft Pick.
This has been the 2024 Collector's Cut Draft Pick.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
It's nice to give me my own space to exercise my creative freedom, Pete. We can't always do what you want.
Well. This has been the show. Hopefully we'll have it. When's this going out?
I don't know. That's up to you. You
That's
said
up to
Merry
me.
Christmas to begin with, so I assume it's Christmas.
Something around Christmas, yeah. So Merry Christmas. I wasn't sure if there was like a specific day we had in mind yet, but yes, yeah. I will. When I have time to edit this together and put it out on a day where nothing else is going out on, you will have this. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
2026.
Yeah, Peter, why is that Collector's Cut thing not went out yet? Oh, it's on the back burner. I'll get to it.
Whatever.
You know, maybe it's like a special 10-year anniversary. We'll put it out or something.
Yeah. Oh God, I hope not.
All right, that's us, guys. Thank you for joining us. Check out Patreon, all that stuff. Bonus shows, the old malarkey. Like, subscribe, all the usual things, and give us some thoughts on the collections now that you've actually seen what they are.
Yes,
in
please.
the comments.
Validate me.
Yes, don't validate him. Validate me. That's us, guys. Thank you very much for joining. We'll see you next time. Keep watching movies. And if you can get it, it's always nice to have diplomatic immunity.